Ric Flair, the dominating force in pro wrestling for decades, found himself in a fight for his life this August. And like most bouts in the Nature Boy's life, he won, but this time not without a wake-up call.
Yeah, I sat down with the superstar to talk about living decade after decade at full speed. Ric Flair may be the most famous pro wrestler of all time. Since the early 70s, he beat almost every opponent who tried to take him down.
Diamonds are forever, and so is Ric Flair.
But it was more than contenders in the ring trying to do him in.
I've crashed in airplanes, been hit by lightning, and I've cracked C5 in my neck. I had to have my gallbladder taken out. Rotator cuffs I had repaired.
Was there ever a point where you kind of feel invincible?
Every day of my life.
Flair led a life of pounding opponents, then pounding drinks when the work was done.
And I would go to work and I wouldn't drink all day long. I never even thought about it. But when it was time to play, then I wanted to play.
3 years ago, his appendix gave him a warning.
From the time I checked in the Gant Medical Center, they were operating on me in 20 minutes. I was driving around with a ruptured appendix.
Wow.
Another hour, I would have been dead.
But it wasn't enough to slow him down until this summer.
Well, that caught up with me, man.
Caught up with a vengeance, and in August nearly did him in.
My kidneys had shut down. I had respiratory heart failure. I had pneumonia all at one time. So they gave me a 20% chance of living.
His fiancée, Wendy Barlow, kept vigil by his side as he stayed in a coma for 10 days. Family and friends came by thinking they may have to say goodbye.
Michael Hayes came, Hogan came, David Crockett came, and my daughter came back from China. They were on a tour.
The wake-up call is sinking in, and Flair knows he needs to settle down now.
But I would just say, God, you know, something that I never have done in my life is understand the word moderation.
You don't drink anymore, and it's been how long?
It's been, plus since August 11th. I don't even think about drinking.
Wow.
Brother, when you've been where I've been.
Yeah. It was just great
Wow.
sitting down with him, and Elise in the 9 o'clock hour. You'll hear how a man on top of the world can actually be down to earth. He also has advice on how to set priorities in life, and you know, just being around him, you get that sense of this person is larger than life, which he was.
Wow.
He had to go through a lot there. He won all those battles. He's on his back on his way to that road to recovery, and just being around him, you can still feel that presence. I mean, he still has it in him. So there's no doubt that he's going to make a full recovery for sure.
That's good news because people love him.
He has one of the biggest followings around the world that I've ever seen. So, you know, some of that advice that he has can reflect on other people out there. He says everything in moderation if he could do it all over again. So that's great advice to people out there.
That really is, especially coming from him. I think we're going to have more from both of you coming up in just a little bit.